Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today, we bring you some news. Camilla goes mad after Princess Anne gives the Queen's diamond brooch to Harriet. According to an insider source, Princess Anne entrusted the diamond pin, a special relic of Queen Elizabeth II, to Harriet Sperling, her future daughter-in-law whom she trusted. Camilla knew. She realized she had never been loved like that, and probably never would again. Anne was a stoic guardian who silently preserved her family's tradition like a stone wall. She had the elegance of royalty without a crown. In contrast, Camilla, who had risen to prominence via conflict, could not fathom the hallowed personal acknowledgement from her late mother-in-law. That pin, a tiny gift, was the first sign of conflict between two royal powerhouses. It started a cascade of calculating plans, deadly counterstrikes, and whispered secrets in the palace's dark, glittering halls, manipulated media, weaponizing public opinion. An apparently peaceful royal family started to break apart. But it cost more than a pin. The truth regarding who deserved to bear the monarchy's soul, the one wearing the Queen's crown or the one with Queen Elizabeth's final personal recollections. Could Anne the Flamekeeper defend her dignity and her mother's heritage against history changers after coming so far? Would Camilla stop or push the royal family to succumb to her unquenchable ambition? On August 1st, 2025. Kensington Palace's stained glass windows let in mild summer sunshine, sending a golden, ethereal glow over the grounds, as if nature were blessing the day. The engagement of Peter Phillips and Harriet Sperling, a couple that combined royal history with modernity, was delicate. Quiet, contagious delight filled the morning. Laughter mixed with birdsong from the verdant gardens, embracing a bright future. She woke up with beautiful green eyes and golden hair falling over her shoulders, catching the early sun. An ivory silk robe was a gem of simple beauty. Its gentle folds enveloped her body silently, declaring that she needed no crown or title to shine. She imagined being a queen as she combed her hair in an antique mirror, through her deep love for Peter and acceptance of those who mattered most. Princess Anne and her son Peter wanted a quiet celebration away from the worldwide media, so the party was modest and subdued. The closest relatives and friends shared old tales, beloved memories, and genuine blessings without extravagant parades or loud crowds. Kensington Palace, with its beautiful rose gardens and tranquil ponds reflecting the huge blue sky, was the ideal place for this private delight, free from royal procedure. Fresh flowers and freshly made cake filled the air, and laughter rang through the hallways like a symphony of pure bliss. With her firm but kind attitude, Anne personally oversaw every aspect. Each flower reminded her of her mother, from the smooth, white-frosted cake with glittering sugar crystals, a subtle signal of the present, to come to the pure white roses on every table. Peter stood behind her, his grin warm and genuine, knowing this was his mother's way of protecting him from the throne's demands and the world's scrutiny. The moment came. It crashed into the cheerful gathering like a summer storm. Princess Anne rose. She commanded in a blue outfit, with the serene elegance of a royal storm survivor. Her proud and determined gaze captivated the crowd. She lifted a delicate red velvet box. Its modest elegance suggested its priceless inheritance. The room became quiet as everyone stared at her. Anne said, "Harriet, my dear," with a warm, forceful voice like a clock tower bell. "I give you a piece of our family's soul today." She cautiously opened the box and saw a diamond pin glowing in the candlelight. Each small jewel felt like a caught star, revealing the tale of Queen Elizabeth II, her reign, her tough judgments, and her quiet moments of dignity. Anne added, "This pin belonged to my mother," her voice softening yet binding like a pledge. "She gave it to me to pass on to a worthy woman, not for titles or power but for dignity, for a loving, legacy-minded heart." Harriet blinked quickly, her lips fluttering like leaves in a mild wind. She had no words for this unexpected, wonderful gift. She stroked the chilly diamonds, feeling as if she were touching centuries past the soul of Queen Elizabeth, whose regal legends she had only read in books or heard whispered. "I don't know what to say," she said, her voice strangled with emotion and tears gleaming in her eyes, expressing utter delight and astonishment. Peter grabbed her hand harder. His eyes filled with a profound affection that was almost palpable, as if to say, "You are more than my fiancé. You are part of this tradition. You deserve everything." At the end of the long, polished table, a black cloud formed over a beautiful sky. Queen Consort Camilla remained still. Her regal exterior hid a stormy inside, her nails dug into her palms as she held the delicate silk napkin on her lap, creating small red crescents like the beginning wounds of a future fight. When she thought no one was watching, her eyes flared with jealousy, a fire in her gut that burned away all reason. After decades of public derision and court intrigue, Camilla became queen. Her late mother-in-law had never given her such a personal gift. No pearl diamond pin or other symbol of her family's love had been given. Harriet, a young lady from outside the royal family, with an innocent face and bright, optimistic eyes, had received what Camilla had secretly, passionately wanted for years. Camilla smiled, but it was a thin, brittle veneer that didn't reach her eyes, disguising her deep, overwhelming agony. Like a stage performer, she lifted her wineglass and toasted with command. A storm of wrath and anxiety swirled within. That pin, albeit modest, had awakened her worst insecurity, the dreadful knowledge that she lacked Anne's natural, seamless identification, as if it were a gift from fate. Harriet held the pin while the candles burned and the visitors left into the chilly night air, feeling honored and burdened, as if she were holding history in her hand. She had no idea that this one lovely moment would plunge her into the middle of a royal tempest, where jealousy and dignity would fight a never-ending war. No one knew how violent the storm would be when a black cloud formed above Windsor. In a castle, anything may happen instantly. Doubtseed's night descended like a velvet veil, shrouding Buckingham Palace in secrets and shadows. After the engagement dinner's lovely glow, faded attendees left with polite smiles and best wishes. But in Queen Camilla's private rooms, the air was heavy and oppressive, like a storm poised to erupt with furious lightning lighting her gloomy thoughts. The chandelier's gentle illumination threw long shadows over her face, underlining the small creases around her eyes, marks of time, but also of years spent battling and lonely hours spent pushing her way to a position she now felt was being undermined. Camilla sat in a luxurious red velvet recliner, with a glass of deep red wine, her eyes melancholy, yet keen like a razor under silk. Harriet was troubled by the diamond pin on her clothing, like an old sore resurfaced, oozing painfully and stealing her serenity. She placed the glass on the polished mahogany table. The crystal clink was quick and definitive, like a quiet declaration of war on Anne and her spirits. Camilla summoned her trusted assistant Edward with a flick. The modest, middle-aged guy with silvering hair and always lowered eyes was used to carrying out covert commands in the dark chores no one else dared do. Edward entered quietly, shutting the thick oak door. He looked tired, yet devoted, like a seasoned soldier who had fought many terrible battles for his commander. "Your Majesty," he said cautiously. "How can I help?" Camilla hardened as she met his eyes. Her voice was deep and authoritative, like a regal order. "Edward, please study the Royal Treasure Archives. Anne gave Harriet this pin today. Can it be transferred? Are there any irregularities?" "Anything disputable." Edward nodded, his eyes flickering with discomfort like nighttime lightning. He was afraid to question her. As quietly as he arrived, he departed with her request like a time bomb. After an hour, he returned with a tiny but substantial folder of ancient royal secrets. His speech became more careful, like he was treading on thin ice. Your Majesty, the pin is listed as personal family heritage. It belonged to Queen Elizabeth II and was given to Princess Anne as a private gift unrelated to crown assets. Princess Anne has the exclusive right to give, retain, or destroy it per royal procedure. No one can dispute her decision. Edward's words shook Camilla like a bucket of freezing water, forcing her to sit up. She made fists, her nails sinking deep into her palms, leaving furious red markings like unhealed wounds. She felt little and fragile, like a kid abandoned in the huge, chilly mansion. She felt like the world was ridiculing her hard-earned title. Anne, the quiet lady who avoided the media, had inner strength and was given a spiritual gift that symbolized a mother's love and acknowledgement. Camilla, Queen of the United Kingdom and consort of King Charles, wore only a chilly, hefty crown, a mark of authority but not love. No. Camilla whispered, her voice shaking with wrath and deep, resonant agony like a stone wall cracking. Anne. She was the favorite, right, always silent and shadowed. But she has everything. Our mother's trust, spiritual heritage, and now everyone's admiration. She turned away, peering out the dark window at the royal garden's wicked secrets hidden by night. She felt envy, insecurity, and the bitter pain of the years she spent on the sidelines when Queen Elizabeth II had never looked at her warmly or offered her a personal gift to acknowledge her place in the royal family. Edward, she whispered, her voice icy as winter frost and her eyes crafty and desperate. Contact our press friends. We've grown friendly sheets. Infer that Harriet Spurling got a dubious diamond. No names needed. Just sow doubt. Let people guess. Let them do our dirty work. Edward paused, his eyes showing deep concern, like a soldier evaluating a dangerous command. Your Majesty, this could cause major controversy. Princess Anne will not remain quiet. The people may turn against us. I know who Anne is. Camilla hissed, her voice slashing through the air like a blade ensuring compliance. But I know my place. I'm queen. If I do nothing, people will believe I'm satisfied to let Anne and her little protégé take my shine. Edward. I cannot allow that. Never. Despite knowing this command wasn't about Harriet or the pin, Edward bowed and nodded. Though she never said it, it was a deliberate attack on Anne, whom Camilla had always felt frightened by. He went with heavy steps, leaving Camilla with her poisonous thoughts and mental storm. She approached the enormous, beautiful wall mirror with a golden frame that depicted a formidable queen in a silk garment and pearl necklace gently. In the chandelier's dull, merciless light, she saw herself more clearly than ever, a woman with an unhealed wound and a profound, bottomless insecurity. The brooch sparked her jealousy of Anne, her grief over the late queen, and her burning need for power and approval. She stroked the mirror's cool, smooth surface and said, I won't let them win, never. An evil scheme started to revolve slowly, but surely amid the royal garden's darkness like a war machine. Camilla realized this play might put her in a dangerous situation where every move may be detrimental. Her pride and envy, now entwined, would not let her down. The flame was started, and no one knew what or whom it would burn. Emerald and backfire. The royal family's black cloud was hardly lifted by Buckingham Palace's thick silk drapes in the morning. Camilla's doubts grew overnight. Tabloid publications spread like snake poison into public perception. The mysterious pin, legacy or deception, swamped the newsstands, starting a rumor war. One shouted. A more deceptive question asked, Princess Anne's controversial gift, is Harriet Spurling a royal treasure? The pieces effectively discredited Camilla and incited social media uproar without naming her. The hashtag #HarrietNotWorthy became viral. Vicious comments poured in. A treasure like that belongs only to true royalty. Harriet has no right to Queen Elizabeth's legacy. She's a commoner, not noble. Harriet went from a happy bride-to-be to a public target of jealousy as criticism shifted from the pin's origins to class divisions. The public divided. One side believed such a valuable gift should stay in the royal circle, where tradition and rank were closely preserved. The other muttered that Harriet was stealing national heritage. Harriet and Anne were pierced by each post and remark, making the royal atmosphere more oppressive than ever. With a cool, pleased grin, Camilla browsed through the articles on her iPad in her study alone. The seed had grown into an unmanageable weed, converting Anne's loving gift into an unsightly stain. The discomfort in her heart was hidden behind that grin. She gently walked to her old wooden jewelry cabinet, which she had filled with dazzling items she had bought. She stroked the diamonds, stopping at a stunning emerald pin she bought with her own money. Like her ambitious gaze, its rich green stones shone. At a renowned charity function today she would wear it. A quiet signal to the world that I am the queen and don't need Elizabeth's legacy to show my status. Grand Hall was elegant for the occasion. A string quartet played quietly while glittering chandeliers dangled from the ceiling. As Camilla arrived, camera flashes illuminated her green silk jacket's emerald pin like fireworks. She deftly navigated the gathering of lords, business tycoons, and philanthropists, smiling and speaking softly. "Your Majesty, that pin is gorgeous. It makes you appear like a queen." An affluent visitor said, her eyes shining. Camilla nodded, her grin honed with time. "Thank you. It symbolizes elegance and power, which the monarchy has long valued." The press flocked, focusing on the pin in every shot and story. Camilla enjoyed her delicious, intoxicating vanity. She felt content like good wine. She believed I deserved this. I was recognized by appreciative eyes, not a dusty remnant from the past. Her flawless crown had a hairline fracture inside. A burning passion sought authentic recognition, not the artificial image she created via schemes, but Queen Elizabeth II's genuine love and approval that she had never received. Each praise was sugarcoating, unable to replace that deep, terrible sorrow. Camilla didn't expect the media to pounce on every detail like a ravenous beast looking for vulnerability. The following day, the pieces made analogies like sharp blades cutting her polished veneer. Camilla wearing emerald pin, as Harriet faces diamond criticism, coincidence or power statement. Camilla vs. Harriet and pin wars became viral as people asked questions. Why did the queen show off her diamonds now? Is she concealing her envy? Perceptive commentators wrote detailed analyses. We know Queen Camilla never got a personal gem from Queen Elizabeth II. Is this why she struggles to bless Harriet's good fortune? Instead, she manufactures this dubious coincidence. Camilla read those lines in her own study at the castle, her face pale like paper. Holding the iPad firmly, her knuckles grew white and her nails dug into the cold metal. "They dare compare me like this," she murmured, her voice shaking with wrath and embarrassment. The pleasure had vanished like sea foam leaving behind ashes that tasted terrible. Gnawing agony replaced vanity as she realized she had too little. She invited King Charles to the drawing room where royal pictures had revealed many secrets. She looked desperate in the candlelight. She begged Charles, "You have to do something," her voice cracking and her eyes sparkling like diamonds. "The media attacks me. Comparing my pin to Anne's gift makes me appear nasty and envious. You must stop them, Charles. You must act." Charles gently shook his head, exhausted by his rule. His eyes were remote as he held a teacup like a shield on the couch. "Camilla, it's minor. Such rumors are ignored by the monarchs. This must not escalate. It will give the reporters more to investigate." His remarks sliced through Camilla's grief, making her feel betrayed by the spouse she had battled so hard for. Shouting, she said, "A small matter. You consider this public humiliation minor. Charles, they ridicule me. Your queen." Charles remained mute, rose, and left the room, leaving Camilla in her oppressive loneliness. She summoned Prince William, her stepson and heir, desperate for his support. She spoke shakily on the phone. "You must assist me, William. The media is portraying me as the villain. However, William spoke calmly. Camilla, I suggest staying silent. We cannot let them dictate the story. This will pass. His remarks hurt more, making Camilla feel that she was being pushed to the periphery of the family and abandoned by her loved ones. Angered and helpless, she sank onto the chair hands covering her face, and tears flowing down her cheeks. Camilla had never felt so alone in the lavish mansion. The queen was strong, but her heart was wounded by the plot she started. Her tool envy had become a double-edged blade, a predator turning on its master. Outside rumors spread like wildfire. Camilla knew she had to stop or everything would crumble. Pride, another fire inside, would not let her down. Though terrible, this struggle had to continue. Windsor confrontation. A hushed, terrible struggle took place inside Windsor Castle, with its long, echoing halls and old stone walls that had seen generations of royal secrets. The late afternoon sunshine illuminated the polished oak flooring through the stained glass windows, yet the oppressive tension persisted. Princess Anne summoned this secret meeting with the calm, steely determination of a lady determined to preserve her family and mother's legacy. At the head of the long table, she sat erect in a gray suit, her keen eyes scanning King Charles, Prince William, and Queen Camilla, the storm leader. Anne watched as tabloid headlines and royal gossip flew like poisoned darts from the shadows. She expected Camilla's behavior. Camilla felt marginalized under Queen Elizabeth II, so envy had simmered for years. After it attacked Harriet, her future daughter-in-law, and the young lady she had selected to continue her legacy, Anne could no longer keep mute. She breathed deeply and spoke as clearly as thunder in a quiet sky. We must discuss the pin. We must also address the rumors spreading like wildfire. Camilla, sitting opposite from her, assumed the serenity of a royal stage veteran. She wore a cream silk jacket and clenched her hands beneath the table, yet her eyes showed a protective glimmer like a trapped animal. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Anne, she said, trying to sound light but with the tension of a snapping string. Camilla felt her heart beating against her ribs. She was surprised when Anne confronted her openly and brought her carefully constructed whispers out into the open for a fight. She hoped Charles or William would act first, but they were quiet. Charles, exhausted as a ruler stuck between his two most important ladies. William was cautiously neutral, but his eyes conveyed disappointment. Anne leaned forward, her rare controlled wrath burning her eyes. She had always been stoic, but now she had had enough. Avoid pretense, Camilla. Daughter of Queen Elizabeth. I received the pin from her. It is not crown property or throne-related. I can give it to anybody I choose since it's my legacy. Anne's remarks pierced Camilla's shields cleanly. Camilla flushed her discomfort, turning into a powerful wrath. She suddenly rose nervously, raising her voice. But you hurt my position. Everyone is talking because of that present. I never got anything like that from my mother-in-law. Do you want to shame me? The room became quiet as if time had stopped. Charles cleared his throat, a weak effort to intercede, but Anne raised a hand, her stare laser-like. Her words rang with conviction as she stood straighter. No, Camilla. Your jealousy hurts you. My mother trusts me without a throne. She picked me to uphold our family values because I understand honor, not because I'm a princess. I may give such distinction to someone deserving like Harriet without permission. Camilla couldn't speak, her argument bursting like a balloon. She urgently searched for Charles's encouragement, but he merely dropped his head, avoiding her sight, his face a mask of exhaustion and despair. William remained expressionless, but he knew Anne was correct. It was time to let the hard reality speak for itself, not meddle. Camilla felt very alone in the family she had battled so hard to join. She resisted tears with fierce force, unwilling to weaken before her competitor. She muttered, You don't understand," her voice weak and words empty in the quiet. Anne would not yield. Her voice softened but remained stern as she approached. I understand more than you think, Camilla. You'll lose more than a pin if you keep doing this. Stop. For our sakes, on behalf of the monarchy, for my mother's legacy. The conference ended in a heavy, unresolved quiet, like a hurricane leaving debris. Camilla turned and left with deliberate steps, but she was disintegrating within like a stone statue. She realized she had lost this battle not for power, but because Anne had hit her inner pain, the severe absence of prior acknowledgement. Returning to her seat, Anne sighed, quietly, relieved yet conscious that the fire was still burning. She hated fighting, but now she safeguarded her family heritage and mother's honor. Public opinion pressure remained like gloomy clouds, and Anne knew this counterstrike was only the beginning. Real conflict between envy and dignity was ongoing. Harriet's little London apartment's thin silk curtains let morning light show her worn, sad face like a fading picture. Public opinion had swept away her engagement day excitement like a tidal wave. The tabloids used titles like Harriet Spurling Heir or Opportunist. Is the diamond pin really hers? Poisonous social media remarks kept coming from the shadows. Though no one named Camilla, the murmurs all led to the Queen making the populace wonder whether she was the unseen hand behind it all, unwilling to tolerate an outsider getting the prize she never received. Harriet held a hot teacup beside the window, but its warmth did not warm her heart. The weak sunlight illuminated the diamond pin in its crimson velvet case on the table. She now saw it as her source of anguish, not pleasure. She looked down at the busy street below, where people led daily lives without public scrutiny. She remembered the long evenings plagued by rumors like monsters in dreams. Not worthy. Noble blood inherits royal legacies. Comments weren't simply about her. They targeted Anne, whom she admired and trusted to give her this present. Harriet clutched the teacup, her fingers white from strain and her heart heavy as stone. Sitting alongside her, Peter gently touched her shoulder, his voice warm with worry. No need to confront this alone, Harriet. Mom and I will chat. Talk to Uncle Charles. This will be fixed. Harriet softly shook her head, a sorrowful smile flitting on her lips like a fading flower in a storm. No, Peter. If you intervene, it will worsen. In no way will I break up your family. A gift made me doubt my worth. Its past weighed on her as she glanced at the pin. The present, intended to signify Anne's trust and dignity, caused a poisonous dispute, turning her greatest day into a nightmare. Not only would retaining it feed the rumors for her, but also for Anne, who had chosen her above all others, and for Peter, whom she loved most. After a terrible night of deliberation, Harriet made a life-saving choice like amputating a leg. The following morning, Harriet came inside Kensington Palace with heavy steps holding the crimson velvet box like her heart. She gave the pin to the curator, a stern middle-aged man who had served the monarchy for centuries in the sacred chamber where valuable relics were stored beneath bulletproof glass and high-tech protection. Her hands shaking, she put the box on the polished table with a brief handwritten message. Her exquisite script swore silently. I return this treasure, but I will always love and trust the giver. Harriet. The story of Harriet's intervention circulated quickly, clearing the gloomy clouds and changing public sentiment. Tabloids that had been criticizing the show for lurid headlines now praised it. Harriet Spurling. A noble act amid a storm of criticism headlined a major daily with a picture of Harriet leaving the palace with a sorrowful but determined grin. She was no longer seen as an outsider, but as a lady of great virtue who would sacrifice her personal happiness to defend the tranquility of the family she was about to join. Noble Harriet surged on social media with thousands of praises. She proves herself without diamonds. One user said that Harriet taught the royals dignity. Her tweet received tens of thousands of likes and shares, symbolizing humility and inner strength. The curator informed Anne at the palace. She clutched Harriet's message and read each word gently, her eyes lighting up with pride and love, like a mother seeing her daughter pass a tough test. Anne could see Harriet hadn't returned a pin. She safeguarded the family's serenity, which Anne treasured more than diamonds or legacies. Camilla sat motionless in her study after getting the news from an assistant. She looked uneasy and defeated, like a fighter who didn't understand she'd lost. Harriet's selflessness destroyed Camilla's carefully lit light and made her feel smaller than ever, a shadow in the castle she purportedly governed. In her apartment, Harriet no longer felt the crushing weight. Though heartbroken, she glanced at Peter beaming beside her, embracing her closer than ever, and felt she had chosen well. The pin belonged in the royal vaults, but Anne's confidence and Peter's love were irreplaceable. She felt a tremendous peace, like sunshine bursting through rain, promising a better day. Harriet's action altered everything, even if the storm was still far away. Instead of arguing about the pin's origins, the people admired the lady who chose peace. True treasure. A week has passed since Harriet returned the diamond pin. The palace was silent after a terrible storm, and public opinion was calm like a lake after ripping waves. Harriet felt serene yet introspective as the press moved on from additional drama. She worried whether she had done the right thing by giving up the precious present or if she had wounded the esteemed mother. Sitting by the window of her little London flat, late afternoon sunshine seeped through the curtains, lighting her weary but optimistic face like a flower after rain. Peter sat alongside her, gripping her hand warmly, speaking. "Harriet, you did well. You protected us all." But Harriet felt a faint sadness, a scar that had yet to heal. A little delivery came at their flat that morning, a surprise reminder of the past. The basic cardboard box had no royal insignia, but an envelope inside had Princess Anne's lovely familiar handwriting, strong and warm like a mother's voice. After opening the package with shaky hands, Harriet spotted a little dazzling pin and her pulse raced. Instead of the diamond, there was a beautiful Scottish crystal copy as transparent as autumn sunshine. Each facet reflected the light differently, as if carrying a silent narrative, a legacy that did not need wealth or stones. Harriet lifted the pin, sliding her fingertips over its cold surface. She felt like she was touching Queen Elizabeth II's soul, even if it was a replica. As she read the letter to Peter, her voice trembled, and each word rang like a pledge. "Dear Harriet, the character of the wearer is more valuable than diamonds or gold, a heart that cares and a dignity that sacrifices. Camilla will never understand because she constantly wants that shiny thing. However, you proved otherwise. Returning the pin did not reveal weakness. It protected our family's serenity, a greater value. Keep this pin. Remember that dignity and love don't belong in royal vaults. They inhabit hearts, and you, sweet Harriet, have proven worthy of them both. In love, Anne." Harriet's eyes hurt. Instead of despair, she cried from Anne's warmth and confidence, a gift more priceless than a diamond. She gripped the crystal pin delicately, as if scared to damage it, even though she knew it was stronger than a human heart under public scrutiny. Peter held her behind, muttering, "My mother was right. Harriet, you're priceless. Nobody needs diamonds," Harriet cried, making the pin glitter brighter in the sunlight, a beautiful symbol of choosing dignity over jealousy, love over power. Camilla sat in her own office at Buckingham Palace, staring blankly out into the grounds where autumn leaves were turning gold and falling like time. A faithful assistant informed Anne about Anne's new gift and how the people praised Harriet and Anne for their modest dignity. Camilla grasped her chair's armrests, feeling the earth disintegrate like a great structure collapsed by a storm. She had intended to defend her position, but now she realized she had just driven herself further into a dark, lonely corner where she sorely needed attention and affection. They constantly win, why she pondered. Why do I miss what matters? The sleepless beast of ambition kept gnawing at her, but this time it was too weak to resist. Charles approached with a soft but serious gaze like a monarch struggling to maintain his throne in a storm. Sitting alongside her, he said softly, "You've gone too far, Camilla. Stop now. For us, for the monarch." For once, Camilla didn't protest. She nodded tiredly, turning away and saying, "Maybe you're right." But a bitter reality had finally surfaced in her heart. Anne may have worn the crown, but her calm determination and unflinching dignity carried Queen Elizabeth II's legacy. Harriet now wore the crystal pin on special occasions to quietly remind herself of virtue, love, and trust. She proved her value without jewels or wealth. She was selected for her sacrifice-willing heart, not her rank or lineage. Jewels in royal vaults sparkle yet are frigid as stone. Trust, honor, and love are only given to deserving souls that value them above everything else. Anne and now Harriet bore the genuine legacy, one that never fades, staying on in hearts and acts long after the gold has faded. Camilla wore a crown with limited grandeur. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.